Okay. So this first session, as I told, right, it will be focused on what is that? Screen scrapping. Fine. So what is the screen scrapping? So the screen scrapping is sometimes or in some applications you won't be able to extract the content of or extract the text of a result in an application. So a good example is calculator, which I shown you, right? So in calculator, I'm not able to extract the values inside the result box. So such a kind of experience we'll be getting it. Okay. So for that, what you have to do is that you can use screen scrapping option, right? You can use screen scrapping option, right? So how to do that, right? I'll tell you that. Fine. Before doing that, what I will do is that let me open an application, right? Open application so that you can able to. Fine. This is an application where you can able to extract the text in a stream, right? So for that, what you have to do, you have to use the screen scrapping option. Let me drag a stream, I mean sequence. Then I'm clicking the screen, right? So in the screen scrapping, see, I can able to locate all the elements, right? Like other activities, right? I can able to locate all the elements, right? Say, for example, I'm going to locate this particular element, right? I'm going to extract all the text in this. Let me click this. Fine. So I can able to extract all the elements inside the particular screen. Okay. So this is the screen I have done. Okay. So I have extracted almost all the text. But here you can able to see some options there. That is scrapping method. So there are three types of scrapping method available. One is native, another one is full text, another one is OCR. So native and full text, right? Native will be extracting only the what is that? Only the available or visible text, right? But in full text, right, the hidden text will be also extracted. Some of you have actually opened, unmuted it. Please mute it, right? I request you to mute it. I think Sajay. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Fine. So now, as I told, I have extracted all the what is that text, right? With using the native scrapping method. Using native scrapping method, I can able to extract it. But what is the difference between native, full text, and OCR? So native in the sense, right? Only the visible text will be extracted, right? So let me click this full text. What is the difference I'm getting? I'll show you, right? So let me click this full text and then I'll refresh it. I'll refresh it. See, I can able to see all the texts are extracted. Under the scale, see under the scale, two texts are extracted. Enable training tip, right? Page left and page right. Right. So these three texts are extracted when I'm using full text. See, if I'm using native method, right? I'll refresh it. Right. See, below the scale, right? Below the scale, nothing is extracted because the text is hidden. It is in the what do you say? Some dragging bar is there, right? So I can just drag and drop. So there is a hidden text. There is a hidden text, but native method is not extracting it. It will only extract the visible text within a particular screen, right? So if I use full text, I can able to extract all the text inside each and every element, right? So under the scale, I can able to extract the hidden text of these three things, right? Fine. So what about OCR? So OCR means what? OCR is yesterday itself I told you, OCR means optical character recognition, right? So it is used for extracting the text which is inside an image. When you select this OCR, it will consider this particular screen as an image, right? And it will extract it. So its recognition or detection percentage is only 98%, right? The detection rate is only 98%. So it is not 100%. Sometimes it will detect perfectly, sometimes it won't detect properly, right? So let us check how it is actually detecting. So I selected OCR here, and then I press refresh here. See, now I can able to extract some text here. See, you can able to see the deposit text is actually not extracted, right? And withdrawal is not properly extracted. And this radio button is recognized as 0, right? So OCR is not working properly. The reason is that it is taking it as an image. So for this application, for this requirement, it is not working. For some other requirement, this native and full text won't work. Only OCR will work, right? So based on the requirement, we have to check it. So how to use it, right? We have to select a particular method, refresh it, or select the other method, refresh it. So each and every time you have to refresh it. Then only you can able to extract the text. This is what your string wrapping method, right? So let me close it. Okay, I'll try to extract and I'll show it in a. I'll extract this. And once you extracted it, click finish. See, it is an attached window. So this is the selector. So you can able to see the selector, right? It is from AnyTeller application, right? And this is what your attached window, and get visible text, right? Get visible text option is there, right? So the output will be in Windows Forms window. This is the variable which is automatically created, right? So go to the message box, just drag it and paste it so that you can able to see the result. Yes, I can able to see the result. In another way, what I can do is that, let me check what is happening in the full text. So in full text, so get, see previously what activity it was there, it was get visible text. So only visible text will be extracted. So here now I used full text method. So in that full text method, what activity is done? It is get full text, right? So let me show that. Fine. So all the texts are extracted. So likewise, we can able to use the screen scrapping method, right? Fine. Let us move on to the theoretical part of it. As I mentioned, screen scrapping refers to those activities that enable you to extract the data from specified UI element, right, or a document. So it is going to extract the text only from the specified UI element, right? So there are three methods, as I told: full text, native, and OCR. And both full text and native is used only for desktop application. Very important. Full text and native method is used only for desktop application. And what about OCR? OCR is for extracting the text. It will be taking it as an image and will extract it. But OCR is not 100% accurate. It is 98%. The accuracy rate is 98%. So the steps I have shown it in the screenshot, right? So in OCR, what you can do is that you can select the OCR engine. There are different types of OCR engine. I forgot to tell that. Let me show you this. OCR engine, right? See, you can able to see here. I go to this OCR. See, I can able to see different kind of OCR engines. Microsoft OCR, Tesseract OCR, UiPath, Screen OCR. Previously, what happens, right? Google OCR is also there. But the problem is Google OCR is actually a paid OCR. You won't be able to use it directly. You have to pay for cloud.google.com. Through that, you have to pay it, and then you have to use the OCR. But now, what they have did is UiPath has removed Google OCR, right? So it has kept only these three things: Microsoft OCR, Tesseract OCR and UiPath Stream OCR. Any method you can use it. Any method you can use it, right? It will extract the text. And here you can able to see the scale, right? What do you mean by scale? If you change the scale of it, it means that you are increasing the size, right? The image size will be slightly increased so that the text will be somewhat properly extracted. Let me show this. First, the scale is 1. I'll refresh it. See, only these texts are extracted, right? Let me increase the scale slightly, say 3, right? I'll refresh it. See, I can able to extract few text. Previously, deposit was not there. Now deposit is there. Withdrawal is there. Withdrawal is properly extracted. Split deposit is properly extracted. But see, this one is actually recognized as a text. This is actually a radio button, right? So when you increase the scale, you can able to extract the text properly, right? So this is what the purpose of a scale. But the problem is when you use the scale, you should be very careful, right? If the quality of the screen is not good, say for example, quality of the image is not good, when you scaling it, the text may get disappear, right? So when you're using scale, you should be very careful. Okay. So let me click finish. Right. Fine. So when I click finish, right, in OCR, what happens? Automatically get OCR text. What is that? Activity is extracted, and the OCR engine is Microsoft OCR. Right. So this is the screen snapping contents. Right. Fine. So yesterday I didn't complete the screen snapping, right? So today I have completed it. So the next is data tables. Very important. If you want to good at UiPath, or if you want to at least do some automation in UiPath, right? You need to know about data tables. Data table is as important as any other activities, because if you are using recording, once you can use the recording, it's well and good. But where you're going to store the data, right? You will be storing the data to Excel sheet. You will be storing the data to say text document or Word document. That's good. But through data tables only you can able to do it. Say for example, you are going to scrap a data from website. Let me show you a website. Right, you can able to understand it more clearly. I'll show you a website here. The website is say Career Builder. So you are working for a company called say HR company, right? So it is a job board. It's a company is a job board. Okay. So you are going to collect the data of jobs throughout India, right? So what you will do? So manually you will be going to say software engineer, right? Software engineer, and then say for example in Maharashtra, right? I say, let me tell something like Mumbai. Sorry, I think the location is carrierbuilder.com, right? So okay, fine. Let us take in United States, US. So US. California, right? CA is California, right? Yes. So Los Angeles, California, for example. Let me search. So there are 1,346 jobs are there, right? Right, 1,346 jobs are there. So you are going to extract all the jobs. And you are going to extract all the jobs. So what you can do is that you can use web scrapper or data scrapper or web recording. So any kind of what is that automation you can use, right? But after extracting it, where you will be storing it? You will be having say data. You will be extracting say the title of the job, whether it's full time or part time. What is the salary of it, and what is the job description of it, and what is the company name, right? So all these things will be extracting it, and when you are extracting it, and where you will be storing it, you have to store it in the Excel sheet. Directly, you won't be able to store it in the Excel sheet, right? You have to convert the data into data table, and from the data table, you have to store it to Excel sheet, right? So that is why data table is very important. right? When you are doing any automation, you will be using mostly data tables, right? For some other times, right, you'll be using some arrays, but most of the time you'll be using data tables. So very important. So please follow carefully. I'll be going very slowly, right? I'll be going very slowly. Fine. So fine. So what is a data table? First, you should know what is a data table. So data tables are data structures that live in a memory and they can hold structured data. So what kind of structured data it is? The structure is actually, it is exactly same as your Excel sheet, right? How the Excel sheet is actually, what is that structured? It is having number of columns and it is having number of rows. Okay, so not exactly the same way, but at least it is looking like a Excel sheet. That means you'll be having many columns. You'll be having many columns, and each column will be having its own data structure, right? So that is why it is called as a two-dimensional way of showing a data. Data table means it is a two-dimensional way of showing a data. So where it is used, right? Where it is used in web scraping. If you want to scrap data from a website, if you want to extract data from a website, right, you will be using this build data table. Right, I'll show you some demo. I'll show you a project of web scraping. Okay, it's very important. It is actually booming, right? So most of the times, most of the time they are using web scraping. Anurag sir, give your. Okay, so fine. That is why data table is used. So what is a data table? It is a structured data in two-dimensional way of representation, right? It's a structured data in two-dimensional way of representation. How it is shown? It is shown in rows and columns, right? Fine. So what are the activities, right? What are the there are number of activities, right? So I won't be able to show all the activities because if I'm showing all these things, it will take till evening. So I'm planning to take the important activities and then I will show the hands-on of it. So if you are able to do all these things, you can able to do all the others, right? This is the major data table activities, right? Fine. Okay. So what are the activities which I'm going to see, right? First thing is, first you should know how to build a data table, right? Building a data table. Then how to add data row. You have built a data table, right? And then how to add the data row, right? And how to remove a data row, right? How to sort it, okay? How to display the data table. You cannot simply see it is like a what is that table? No, so it is difficult to display it in a screen. So for that, there is an activity which is called as output data table, right? So how to use it, and then how to clear a data table, because once you build it, you have to clear it because you are not going to use it. It will be simply what is that, consuming the memory. So you have to clear it. Once you build a data table, once you what is that one when you do the processing and when you completed it, right, you have to clear the data table. So how to do that, and also how to process inside a data table, right? How to process it. For processing a one-dimensional array, right? What we used for each, right? For each. Here in data table activities, there is a activity called for each row. This particular activity is for processing the two-dimensional data, right? So this is a two-dimensional data, right? So to process this data, right, we are using for each row. So these exercise we'll be doing it. I'll be going very slowly, right? So please follow it. If you are clear about this, you can able to do any kind of automation. That is for sure. Okay. So now I'll take a new sequence. I'll take a new sequence. So demo data table. So fine. So all the data table demos, right, I'll be showing here. So first, how to build a data table, Okay. How to build a data table, right? Fine. So in the first exercise, what I'll be doing is that I'll show you how to build a data table and then how to display a data table, right? So I'll be using two activities here, build data table and output data table, right? These two activities I'll be using it, okay, for building a data table and showing the data table. Okay, so go to this activities and you please type build data table. Fine. So in this build data table, what I can do is that let me click this data table, right? And you can able to see all the details like columns, right? And the data types of the column, right? It is there. Okay. So how to edit that first, right? Let me click this edit column button. This is the edit column button, right? I'm clicking this, right? And then I'm going to say change it to name, right? The column name is say student name. Let me make the what is that? Student name. Okay. And the maximum length is say, let me increase it 500, right? Click OK. So it's going to be string. Student name is going to be string. You can also select any other data type here. So student name is going to be string. Click OK, right? And then here I'm going to edit this particular column, student marks. So let me name it as marks. So marks is going to be integer, right? So click OK. Fine. Okay. So if you want to add one more column, what you can do is that there is a plus sign here, right? You can add it. Say for example, age, right? Age is actually integer 32. Click OK. So now age is there. So student name, marks, and age is there, right? So likewise, you can increase any number of columns. You can increase any number of columns. So for the time being, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use only two columns, right? Let me close this. I don't want to use this column, right? I'm going to remove the age column. I'll remove it. Okay. Right. So now what I'm going to say, I'm going to enter some data here. Okay. Say, let me say Arun. Say student name and marks is say 300. Okay. Or say okay 400. Fine. Then say Vinod. Here, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say 300, right? Right. So here, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add say 3, okay? 450, right? And then what I'm going to start say Hari, right? Say 425, right? And say some other name, say Amrish, right? So, say 375. Fine. So I have 5 names with marks. Okay. Once I've entered it, let me click OK, right? We'll check it out. See, I have 5 names with marks. But the point is that you won't be entering like this in the actual project. When you are doing any actual project, you won't be entering data directly because you are hard coding it. You are directly entering the data. If it is not good, actually, you won't be doing that. You will be simply building the data. That's it, right? Data will be automatically what is that available? I mean, it will be inserted into the data table, right? So you won't enter the data into the build-up. But why I am doing this? Because for showing the demo, I am doing this. But in the actual case, you won't be having like this. But in the actual case, you won't be having like this, right? Please keep this in mind. So what I did is that I have built a data table. Okay. So now let me use another data table, output data table. Okay, fine. So here I build the data table, right? Now I have to give the variable, right? I forgot to give it. I have to give the variable, right? Let me give this. So let me press Control plus K. Control plus K is for setting a variable inside a particular text box, right? So I have used Control K, right? And press DT, right? I have used DT. DT is the variable which I have created for this particular data type, right? So I can create like this, or what I can do, I can go to the variable and then I can create it, right? See, you can able to see automatically DT is there and variable type is automatically selected, data table, because you have to input only data table here. You won't be able to input any other tables. It will show the error. Value of type integer cannot be converted into data table, right? So if you are giving any other, what is that? Data type or variable type, it will show error, right? So you have to select only data table in the build data table activity. Okay, fine. So now the error is not showing, right? Fine. So in the properties panel, I have created the variable name as DT for this data table, right? Fine. So in this output data table, what I'm going to do? For this output data table, I have to give my input for this data table, right? So this output data table should have a input. What input? The input of the data table. So which I created DT, is it right? DT is there. Fine. So now output data table is there. Fine. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add the result of it. I mean display the result of it, right? So that is this result is displayed as text. The result is displayed as text. So for that, I have to add a variable also. So again, Control K, Control plus K. Okay, the keyboard shortcut is Control plus K, right? And then let me give a variable as say display. So display DT. Okay. So let me check the variables pane. Display DT, and it is a string. See, the data table is automatically converted into string with the help of output data table activity, right? So now I'm going to use write line, right? Let me use the write line activity. And what is the variable I have created here? Display text, right? So let me type this display DT, right? Fine. Okay. So now I'm going to execute it. Now I'm going to execute it. Right. I'll just check out the output. See, it is displayed as text. The first line you are seeing here is that student name and marks, which is the header of it, column header, right? And the values for the corresponding column is actually displayed as text here. So this is the way of displaying a data table, right? But normally you won't use these things in the.
So please, could you repeat this part?
What's that? I didn't hear you. What's that?
Sir, please repeat this part, sir.
Oh, sure, sure. I will do that. Okay, so let me remove all these things. I'll tell from the first. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to build a data table, right? I'm going to build a data table. So how to build a data table? There is an activity called build data table, right? I'll drag and drop here, right? So this is the build data table activity, right? And first I have to populate the data, right? So for that, what I have to do, I have to click the data table, right? So, and there you can able to see the option called strings, right? Here you can able to edit the column. Just click this edit the column, right? And then give the column name of it. So column name here, I am going to put as student name. Student name, and the data type is string. And I'm going to give us 500, right? Click OK. So now I have created a column. The column name is student name, data type is string, the maximum length is 500, right? So now I'm going to create another column. The column name is, say, marks, student marks. And the data type is integer, right? And then I'm going to click OK. That's it, right? So I have the column names and also the data type of the column name I have, right? Now I'm going to populate the data. So I'm going to select few data here. Say Arun. Okay. Press enter. Press enter. You can able to go to the next line. Say 350. Again, press enter. Again, press enter. So few data I have populated here, right? So now what we discussed is that how to build a data table, right? How to build a data table, how to create a column name, how to add the data type of it, and how to create a integer data type, right? So all these things we have discussed. And then please click OK. That's it, right? So now we have built the data table, right? Now what I have to do is that I have to create a variable for this, because this data table has to be stored in a particular variable, is it right? So what I can do is that I have to create a variable. So two ways I can able to create a variable. So in the properties pane, you have a properties pane right here, the right hand side. So there I can able to create a variable. So output, this is the data table, and here I have to give the variable. In other words, what you can do is that I can go to variables. I can create a data table here, right? So here, let me remove all these things. Fine. So in two ways I can do it. Okay. So let me do the first way. The first way is I'm going to create a variable dt, and then I'm going to click system.data.data table. Okay. System.data.data table. Fine. Fine. So now I have created the variable, right? And then here I can mention that. This is one way of creating a variable in a data table, right? So other way is what? Let me remove this. Remove this. So other way is, let's say I can press Control K and then I just type dt. Press enter. That's it. So now what happens here? I have created the variable directly using Control plus K. And then you can check it in the variables pane. See, directly it is created with data table, right? So in two ways you can able to create. Now, what are you going to do is that you are going to display the data table, right? So for that, please drag the output data table, right? So in the output data table, in properties pane, you have two boxes, right? One is input data table box and output data table box, right? You have to give these two values, right? So what is the input data table which you have already created? Is it right? That is what? dt. So that you have to give it here, dt. Right? So then what you have to do is that you have to create another variable which is used for displaying the data, is it right? So for that, the same way of creating the variable, Control plus K, right? So display dt, that's it, right? So display dt, fine. So now I have the the variable for displaying the text, display dt. So let me drag the right line activity so that I can able to display the text display DT. Fine. So now I'm going to execute it. Right? Run file. That's it. So now you can check the output pane. See, in the output pane, you can able to check out the values of the data table build, right? So student name and marks is the column names, right? And the other things, Arun, Vinod, Sri, Hari, Amrish, and all the marks, it is actually the column values. So all these things are displayed. This is the way of building a data table and displaying the data, right? If you want to display the data table, only you have to use output data table and write line. Or you can also use message box. No issue. Fine. So I think you got it. Is it right, sir? Okay. Fine. So this is the way of creating a data table. Now, what about the next step? The next is how to add data row. See, I have created a data table using build data table activity. Right now, how to add rows? Right. See, the next exercise will be adding the data row. Right. So there is an activity called add data row. How it will add data row? Right. It will be adding at the end. Right. See, these are the data we are having. It will be adding at the end only. Right. The arrow bar which I shown here. No? So if you are giving a value or a data row, you have to give the data row. Okay. So you cannot give single values. You have to give the complete row output, right? Then only you can able to add it. So for that, what you can do is that you can use add data row. So the same exercise, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add a data row so that how it is actually displayed. Let us see. So go to the UiPath, right? Please type add data row. Add data row. So previously, how many data we are having? 5 data we are having. And now we are going to add another row. Right. So for this add data row, just check out the properties panel, right? So in this pane, what you are having array row, data row, and data table. So here we'll be using array row and what is that? Data table, right? So what is the input data table? This is the input. In this data table only, I'm going to add the data row, right? So I'm clicking this. Type DT here. Yes. Right. And what is the input I'm going to give? I'm going to give another row. Okay. So you can give a particular row through array, right? So this is the array row, is it right? So it's showing. So in the way of array format, you can able to give the data. I'll show you the thing. So let me give another name. The name should be in string, right? The string is any name, say Raj, right? And then marks. So marks is going to be integer, right? Say 3. Okay, fine. That's it. So I'm going to add another row here. So how I'm giving the data? I'm giving the data as array row. I'm array row, right? Fine. So let me execute this so that whether this particular what is that data is adding or not. Let us check it. Run it. Right. Go to the output pane. See, a data row is added properly, right? So it is properly added with the first column. Raj is properly added to the student name, and 340 is correctly added to marks, right? So this is the way of adding the data row. Okay. Fine. You may be asking, sir, what is the purpose of this data row object, right? So this data row object, right? So you will be sometimes you'll be doing a very big project, right? So you'll be getting you'll be extracting a particular row. So that row will be coming as an object, right? So for at that time, right, you can directly give an object here, right? So in this case, right, what actually doing is that we are giving the data directly through array row, right? So for the demonstration purpose, so that is why I am using this particular thing. You can use anything, array row or data row, anything you can use, right? For the time being, right, we are understanding with array rows. Okay, fine. Whatever the next one, we have studied data row now, right? The next is remove a data row, right? We have included a data row in the previous exercise. And in this exercise, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to remove a data row, right? Previous exercise, I have added it. Now I'm going to remove it. Okay. So for that, again, there is an activity. So remove data row. Remove data row. See here, there is a activity under the data table, right? Remove data row. I am dragging it and I am pasting it here, right? So what I am doing here is I am building a data table, adding a row, right? I'm adding a row and displaying a row, right? So let me update it here. Adding a data row, right? Displaying. I can rename it. Displaying the added data row, right? Displaying the added data row. So like that, I can able to rename it. No issues, right? Fine. So now here I'm going to remove a data row. So how to do that? Right? The same list are there. See, you can able to see here data table is there. Input is what is the data table? Data table is DT. Is it right? So here I'm going to give DT. Fine. So in two ways you can give the row details, whether you want to remove a particular row, right? So for that you can give the row index here, right? Or row object here, right? So let me use row index here. So if I'm giving 0 means if I'm giving the value 0, so it means that I'm going to remove the first row. See the data table, I'll be removing the first row, right? If I'm giving 0, if I'm giving 1, the second row, if I'm giving 2, third row, if I'm giving 3, fourth row, if I'm giving 4, it is fifth row, right? So let me do one thing. I remove the fifth row, right? If I'm removing fifth row, I have to use row index as 4, right? I have to use row index as 4, right? So now let me display it, right? For displaying it, what I have to do? Output data table, right line. These two activities will be there, right? So output data table is what? DT, right? And right line is this is my variable, right? So remove data. Right, this is the variable I created. So here I have to give remove data, right? Fine. So let me give a what is that string here so that we can able to compare easily, right? Added data, displaying added data. I can do it as displaying added data, right? Displaying added data, okay? And here displaying removed data. Displaying data, right? Fine. Displaying added data and then the variable, displaying removed data and then the variable, right? We store it. Okay. So now I can run this particular thing, right? Let us check the output pane. See, the first step, it is adding the value Raj. Okay, fine. So yes, correct, right? It is adding the value Raj 340. In the next set, what actually happens is that Amrish 406 is removed because that is in the fifth position. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So it is in the fifth position. Okay. 0 means first position, 1 means second position, 2 means third position, 3 means fourth position, 4 means fifth position. In fifth position, what you are having? Amrish 406. So that value is removed. That value is removed. Okay. Fine. So this is what removing a data row. So we discussed about adding a data row and removing a data row, right? I hope you have understood this. I'll give you an exercise. Don't worry. You please follow it carefully. Right? Shall I move to the next topic? Okay, no issues. I think I'm not getting any response. Anybody else is trying it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's flawless.
Okay, sir. Fine. I think no issues right till now. Okay. Okay, fine. So now let me show another exercise in data table. So exercise 4, sorting data table, right? So how to sort a data table? So so in sorting, right, is very easy, right? Let me show you that. So for sort data table, right, there is a what is that activity called sort data table, right? So if I click the sort data table, I can able to see this properties pane, right? So in this properties pane, what you're having is that data table input will be a data table, right? And you have to display that. You have to output the data table in another variable, right? That is why input is also there, output is also there, right? And based on which column you are going to sort, right? Based on which column you are going to sort, which sorting method, ascending or descending, all these things you have to give, right? So in this case, data table is DT, output DT1 I have given, and sorting column, we have to mention it. So either we can mention index or we can mention name. Okay. So if I'm mentioning name, I have to give like this, right? The name of the column, right? And then order is ascending or descending. That is what sorting the data table. Okay. Excellent. Let me show you this. Fastly, so that I'll remove all the activities which I done here, right? So I'm having what? A data table with all the values which I already created, right? So I'm going to sort this particular table. I'm going to sort this. Say, for example, ascending. I'm going to sort this to ascending, right? Let me do that. Sort data table. Right. So in this sort data table, what I have to do, as I shown in the PPT, right? I have to give the input and output. So what is the input? It will be DT, right? Excellent, right? And I'm going to create another data table, that is, say, DT1. Okay, that is DT1. How I created is control plus K. Okay, so DT1. Fine. So input is given, output is also given, right? We have to give the column name, right? So column name. So I'm going to give student name. Okay. Based on the student name, I'm going to sort it. Right. So in the name, what I have to give? I have to give the column name within the quotes. That is string, no? So I have to give within the quotes. So student name, right? And defaultly it is showing us ascending. Okay. I can say ascending or descending. So now I am going to do ascending, right? So now the sorting is completed. So we have to display it, is it right? We have to display it. For that, what is the activity I have to take? Output data table. Output data table. So what is the data table I have to show? DT1, because DT1 is having the sorted result. DT1 is having the sorted result. So I have given the input as DT1. Fine. And then another variable I have to create. Sorted DT. Okay. The text I have created. Sorted DT. So then I can use right line. Right? I can use right line. Okay. So now what happens? You are building a data table, sorting it, outputting it, and then displaying it. Right? Run it. So now, what is the output here? See, the first is Amrish is there. Second is Arun. Third is Hari. Fourth is Sri. Fifth is Vinod. So it is nicely sorted correctly. It's sorted correctly, right? Fine. This is what we call as sorting, right? Very important. The sorting. You'll be mostly using this. Fine. What is the next one? Clearing the data table, right? Okay. So clearing the data table. Fine. So I will implement this clear data table directly here so that you can able to understand it. So let me use clear data table activity. Drag and drop here, right? So in clear data table, only one input is there. That is the data table to be clear, right? So let me do one thing. I will clear DT1. I'll clear DT1, right? So DT1, okay. And I have to display it, right? So let me copy this and paste it here, right? Right, so that I can able to see the result. Okay, this is, let me give a text. Sorted. Right, and here the data table is clear. It is an empty data table, right? So let me give a text as empty data table. Right? Excellent. Okay. Now let me execute this. Just execute it properly. See, sorted data table values are there, and empty data table. See, no values are there. Only column values is there. All the values are clear. Okay. So that's all about the clear data table. Okay. So until this, I hope you understood, right? If you have any doubts, you please ask me, because the next exercise is for each row, right? This is what we are going to process inside a data table. This is very important here. So for the time being, right, I'll give you some 2 or 3 minutes. Please check it out. If any doubts is there, tell me, or else I'll move on to the next exercise, exercise 6. Please tell me if any doubt is there. If any doubt is there, please ask in the chat.
No doubt, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay. So now let us move on to the next exercise for each row. So in for each row, what actually we are going to do is that we will be extracting each and every row, right? And we'll process it, right? So it doesn't mean that you will be processing the complete row. No, it is not like that. You are processing a row with a particular cell, right? The processing will be done only in column, but you will be mentioning it as row, right? Okay, I'll show you that in detail so you can able to understand it clearly. Let me remove everything. Let me remove all the variables, right? Fine. So only this data table is there, right? Okay, so now I'm going to use for each row. So how to use that for each row? Let's see. For each row. See, you can able to see two different for each is there. One is for data table, another is for control. That is one-dimensional array, right? Okay. So we have to drag and drop the for each row in data table, right? I'll drag and drop the for each row in data table. Fine. So what is the input here in for each row? I have to give the data table name. What is the data table name? DT, right? So DT. And here, what you're having is that what is that temporary variable, right? So it is current row, just showing this current row. So let us keep it like this. Let me display so that you can able to understand what actually it is. Okay. So I'm going to give current row. I'm simply in current row. I'm not going to give anything. I'm simply giving current row. So it means that it will extract everything. It extract everything in the row, right? But when you're displaying it, nothing will be shown. I will display this. See, system.data row. It's the first row, second row, third row, fourth row, and then fifth row. That's it. So it won't display data, but it will extract the complete row of it. If you want to extract each and every element, right, then what you have to do? Then you have to give the column, right? So let me mention it as current row of 0. If I'm giving current row of 0 means that is 0th column, all the rows. Okay, let me show you this in the PPT. See, if I'm taking this particular data table, okay, if I'm taking this particular data table, current row of 0, it means you are extracting only the values of column 1. Current row of 0. If I'm giving current row of 1, I'll be extracting the values of column 2. Current row of 0 means column 1. Current row of 1 means column 2, right? So I'll execute this current row of 0. So what it has to show? It has to show the values Arun, Vinod, Sri, Hari, Amrish, right? I'll extract this and I'll run this. See, Arun, Vinod, Sri, Hari, Amrish, right? So 0 means the first column. Okay. Let me make it as say 1. 1 means it has to display all the marks, only the marks. So current row of 1, is it right? See, it's displaying the marks. 450, 400, 350, 375, 406. That's it. So this is the way of extracting the values from data table, right? Using for each row, right? Fine. this is what the demo I want to show for each row. Okay. So now let us move on to a little difficult one. Can you please try this? What you have to do is that please build a data table. Build a data table like this. Say the column, first column is websites, right? Google, sorry, okay, let me, it is not in the proper way. Let me show you that, right? So build a data table, right? I'm going to build a data table, right? So let me take it as company name, right? Company name. Company name is going to be string. I'll change this maximum length to 500, right? Okay. And then I'm going to give website of the company, right? It is also going to be string. And it should be, say, 500, right? Click OK. So Google, right? So we have to give properly the website names, right? Let me give the proper website name. So google.com is a website. Then say msn.com. MSN. Here, say Yahoo. Yahoo. Say then what I can do? I can give a say a Bing. Okay. Bing. Okay. So now let me give OK here. Right. So these are the websites. Right. I have entered in the. This is the way I have created the build data table. Right. Let me update this in the PPT so that it will be useful for your referencing purpose. Right. So what I did, I have created the column, a company name and website. Right. The company names and the website names is available here. So now, what is the assignment telling? Right. The assignment is you are building a data table, right, as shown, and then using for each, right, you have to open all the website, right? Open all the. Is it possible? Is it possible? So I have the data table like this, right? So I want to open the data table. I mean, open the website which is available inside the data table, right? Is it possible? Let me see the chat. Yes, it is possible. Okay, good. Okay, I'll show you that so that you can able to understand it clearly. So let me create a variable here, dt, which is already available. So I'm using the same thing. So dt is there, and I'm going to use for each row in data table. For each row in data table, dt, right? And then I'm going to extract the current row of it, right? So fine, it is possible. And then there is an activity called open browser. Drag and drop the open browser here, right? So in open browser, what you are going to do is that you are going to give the current row of it, right? So current row means current row. Which current row? Right? Current row of which column? This columns, right? So 0 and 1. 1 is having all the websites. So let me give this current row of 1. That's it. So it will be showing error. See, let me show you that. See, it is showing an error because current row of 1 is actually what? It is in object. You have to convert that into string. What you have to do? Dot to string. Now the error disappears. Excellent, right? So now what I'm doing here is that I am opening all the browsers, right? So you should be very careful when you're doing this, right? So you have given the URL. Just check the properties. You have given the URL. What about the browser type? What about the browser type? So browser type is actually Chrome because we are using only Chrome, right? This is the Chrome. So browser type dot Chrome, is it right? I have given like this. Okay. So now open browser will be targeted to Chrome browser, right? I'll run this. See, Google is open, MSN is open, Yahoo is open, Bing is open. That's it, right? How fast is open, right? See, all the Google, MSN, Yahoo, and Bing, everything is open, right? So this is the way you can able to process the data table, right? Fine. Okay. So data table is over, right? So the next is Excel automation, right? Fine. I'll give you another 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Please try this and tell me whether it is working or not. I hope you are trying this. Okay. Ashish sir is telling okay to here. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay. Fine. So now, let us move on to the next one. Very important, Excel automation. And if anyone of you say a CA, right, chartered accountant, or any other, what is that, right? So for them, it will be very useful. Excel automation, right? Fine. So let us start Excel automation. So what do you mean by Excel automation? So Excel automation means, right, already Excel is actually working excellent. Actually, that is why it is Excel, right? See, we are actually using this for so many purposes, right? Like entering the data, managing the data, monitoring the data. Like so many options are there. So further, actually, we can able to do the automation, right? Right. How to do that, right? Say, for example, if you want to do a process for first 3 columns, and if you want to store it in another column, right? So all these kind of activities, right, it can be automated, right? And the advanced automation is there in Excel, right? That is macros, using macros, right? So macros, I haven't created any exercise for you now, because this Excel automation itself, so many exercises are there, right? So I didn't give you the macros is an advanced level of Excel automation, right? So I have covered only the basic level of Excel automation, right? Fine. So how to do this in UiPath? So in 2 ways we can do it. One is with the help of workbook activities. There are 2 sets of activities. One is workbook activities, another one is Excel activities, right? So there is a difference between workbook and Excel. So what is the difference? See, if I am taking a activity from workbook, right? If I'm taking a activity from workbook, I can able to see I have to give path. That is the Excel sheet path where the Excel sheet is stored in the computer, right? That path you have to give. Okay. If you are taking any activities, append range, get table, for all the activities, you have to give the path. But in case of Excel, right, Excel activities, right, these are the Excel activities. So for these activities, right, no need to give the path. No need to give the path. This is the difference between workbook activities and Excel activities. Other thing, right, both are actually doing the same thing. Both are actually doing the same thing, but where it is used, in which application or which situation it is used, that I will tell you now. Okay. So let me show you that in the UI path. Excel, just type Excel in the activities pane. This is activities pane, right? Please type Excel here. Now you can able to see all the activities, right? Fine. Just type workbook here. Right? See, I can able to see all the activities for workbook. Both will be doing work. Both will be working for Excel software. Okay. Fine. So let me open a new sequence or new new sequence. So Excel automation. Okay. Create. So first we'll focus on Excel automation. Okay. First we'll focus on Excel activities. So we'll be doing only this Excel activities first, right? And then I'll show you how to use the workbook. Okay. Fine. If you are using Excel activities, every activity should be in an Excel application scope container. Every activity should be in an Excel application scope container. Very important, right? If you want to use this Excel activities, what you have to do is that, see, I'll type this Excel. See, if you want to use all these activities, what you have to do is that you have to use first Excel application scope. Excel application scope. So inside this do, right, there is a do sequence, right? So inside this do, you can drag and drop any activity. Say, read cell, read column. So any activity you can drag and drop. The reason here is in read cell, right, only that activity is there. There is no worksheet path. That is the Excel sheet path is not here, right? Because the Excel sheet path is already available in the Excel application scope. Okay. So this is what the usage of Excel activities. What you have to do, first thing is you have to drag and drop the Excel application scope. Then what you have to do, right? You have to drag the remaining activities, right? So how to use the Excel application scope? Select it, right? And select this, right? See, for example, I have already created a Excel sheet, Excel automation, right? I'm selecting this. Okay, fine. So now I have selected a particular Excel sheet. I'll show you the Excel sheet here. This is the file name, Excel automation. So this Excel automation is having 3 columns: student name, student marks, and grade. These 3 columns are there, right? Let us see. Let us play with some different exercises, right? I'll close the Excel automation. Okay, so now what I did is that I have dragged and dropped the Excel application scope. I have given the path for that particular file, right? This is the Excel path file, right? Fine. So now what I can do is that I can drag and drop read range. Can drag and drop read range, right? Because I have to process the data inside the Excel sheet, right? So how to process it, right? For that I have to read the Excel sheet, right? So when I'm reading it, two ways I can read. The thing is that I can mention the columns. So for example, A1 to B1. Like this, I can give the column. So starting from A1, I can able to extract to B1. Starting from A1 to B1, right? Like that I can give. Or else what I can do is that I can directly give it as empty. If I'm giving empty, it means that I am extracting everything, rows and columns, everything I'm extracting, right? So it's better to give empty because let us read everything, right? Okay. So when you're reading it, you have to store it, right? You have to store it somewhere else. Where you are going to store? We're storing it in a data table. Let me create as DT. Okay. So that is why I told in the last session, last slides, right? When I'm discussing data table, how important the data table, right? See, if you are doing Excel automation, you will process the values inside the Excel, right? Using data tables. So that is why data table is very important, right? So I'm reading the Excel sheet with the help of this read range activity. So I have given the sheet name also, which sheet I have to extract, sheet 1, right? And then what about the contents, whether it is whether column A, column B, or column C, that I have to give, right? If I'm giving as empty means it will be extracting everything, right? I'm extracting everything from the what is that? Excel sheet, right? Column A, B, and C. 3 columns are there, right? Fine. In the read range activity, just check out the properties, right? See, output is data table. That is the data which you are reading from the Excel sheet will be stored in the data table. What about the others? See, add headers. Add headers. If I am not selecting this, it won't take the column headers, right? What is the column header in this Excel sheet? Student name, marks, and grade. Student name, marks, and grade. Okay. So now, if I am including that, then I'll be adding all the headers, right? Let us check it whether how it is actually working. How to check it? The same steps. Output, data table. Output, data table. Right? Very simple. You have to give the data table name, right? DT, and then a variable of this, right? Display. Fine. And then a message box, right? A message box. So display DT. See, with column names, students, student name, marks, and grade, and the values, right? Student name, marks, and grade. So in read range, I have given the add headers, right? So let me remove this. See, it is not showing the column header. Simply it is showing column 0, column 1, and column 2, right? So we are clicking this add headers. Fine. Okay, so now you understood how to read a particular value from a Excel sheet, right? And it is stored in a data table. Let us move on to this, right? So this is what we have done for the basic exercise, right? Reading a range and displaying it. That is what we have done. What about the next step, right? And that is also I've done, right? Because what is that? This is for what? Adding headers. Right? Adding headers. Fine. Fine. Now, what actually we are going to do is that we are going to add grade for the students. We are going to add grade for the students. So how to do it? Let us show you that here. First, what I did here is that I have used the Excel application scope. Excel application scope, and inside that the path is given. The Excel sheet path is given. And now what I did here is that I used an activity called read range. The previous exercise, the same thing I showed you, right? With the help of read range, I am reading the content of sheet 1. I'm reading all the content of sheet 1, and that is stored in the data table. That is DT. Okay. And what I'm doing here is that I'm dragging for each row in data table. That activity, right? I am dragging and dropping it here. And then in this, I am giving the input as DT, which is already assigned to this read range activity, right? And that is actually assigned to current row. Now, what I'm doing here, very important, what I'm doing here. So I'm going to add grade for the students, right? I'm going to add grade for the students. So what is the grade? See here, different marks are there, right? So the grade which I'm going to give is that if the student is getting more than what do you say? More than here what I more than 60 to 80. It's greater than 60 and less than 80. If the student is getting greater than 60 and less than 80, then he is assigned with what is that? Grade C. Sorry, grade B. Okay, assigned with grade B. Where I'm storing it, the grade is stored in C column. This is the C column, is it right? This is the C column. Okay, fine. Now, here what I'm doing here is that I am checking whether the student is having more than 80 marks. If he is having more than 80 marks, I am giving a what is that? Grade A. Okay, so this is what the exercise, right? So there are some small changes are there. Let me show you that some small important things are there. You should be very careful when you are dealing with data table and Excel sheet, right? Let me show you that. Fine. So what I did is that I have extracted the Excel application scope, and then I use the read range. Okay. So now let me drag and drop if activity. Right. So before that, sorry, for each row in data table. Let me drag and drop it here. Right. And then the data table is DT. Fine. And then I'm going to drag and drop the if activity here inside the body, right? So now how it is actually processed. So in for each row, there is a, I have given the input as data table DT, right? You can able to see here is that there is a, what is that? Index. There is an index, right? So I'm going to give the index variable, control K, right? So index variable say IDX, some variable, right? So this index means what? This for each row will automatically identifies the index of those rows. Index of those rows, right? Say this is index 1, 2, sorry, index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, index 5, likewise. Right? It will extract it like this. Let us see whether it is 0, whether it is 1. Let us see. Let us check out with the help of the results, right? Okay. So now I have given the index for this for each row in data table, right? Now what is the next step? I have to do the comparison part, like I have done it in the what is that? Excel sheet, right? So what is the condition I have given? I have to give current row, right? Current of, say, what is that? 1. Because why I'm giving current row of 1? Because 1 is marks, 0 is student name, and 2 is grade, right? So I'm going to extract only these values. That is why I'm giving current row of 1. Okay. So current row of 1, right, is greater than E, and current row of 1 is less than 60. It is not correct because this current row of 1 is again an object. We have to convert that into an integer, right? So for that, there is a Visual Basic method is there. So current row, sorry, convert dot to int 32, right? Bracket to give like this, right? So this particular element is converted into integer with the help of this convert function, right? So convert dot to int 32 of, right? So again, it is showing error. So let us see why the reason here is, right? So the reason here is, here I have given convert dot to int sorry. What is the error it is showing?
Sir, actually a bracket not put after the current row of it is.
Oh, okay. I missed one bracket, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I missed one bracket. Yes. Yeah, this is the one I put extra. So this is the mistake I made. Yes. Is it so?
There is a bracket at the end of the second condition also.
Ah, yes. Current row. That is not the case, I think. Let me do one thing. Let me take this. Let me put it in the notepad. Okay. So 2 into this. For this, it is this one. And convert that to int. Yes, this is the case. This, so that I can. So here, what I did is that one more bracket I have to put. Do one thing. Convert dot to int of 32 of current row of of 1, right, which is right greater than 60, right? Fine. So and current row of 1 is less than 80, right? That is convert the 2 in 32 of current row of 1 is less than 80. So this is what the condition.
Sir, excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, actually convert to int 32 is a function. Within that bracket, which is required to use only current row of 1. Close the bracket.
Yeah, fine. Okay. That's a mistake. Fine. So that should be, okay, that is the thing I'm going to. Less than 80. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Fine. So this is the condition I have to give. So whether the current row of 1 is greater than 60 and current row of 1 is less than 80, right? So if this satisfies what I have to give, no, I have to give what is that? I have to write that particular value. That what is the value? Grade. So grade is actually it is B, I think. What is the grade I gave? The grade is B. Yeah. So in this case, I have to use right cell. So right cell in Excel activity. Please check out carefully because Excel is there. Workbook, two sets of activities are there, right? So in that I have to use right cell of Excel activity. So drag and drop this. So in this case, I have to use sheet 1. In that sheet 1, which column I have to use? C. It is showing as A, is it right? So I have to use C here. And then starting from which cell? See, this is the cell, right? Everything is a cell, right? Starting from which cell, right? I have to give. So the index I have to give. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, likewise, right? So let me give here as, let me remove this and I'll give a concatenation, what is that, operation. Then I have already created a IDX. Where I created the IDX? IDX I've created in the for each row data table, right? Here it is the index, right? That is the variable IDX. So the same ID I'm giving here, right? Let me show this. So IDX dot toString, right? So now what happens? C will be there plus IDX will be there. Okay. So IDX dot toString. Fine. So default value of IDX is what? 0. Starting from 0, it will be incrementing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. Right. Fine. So the value which I am going to store is what? B. So B I am going to store. That's it. Okay. So for this condition, I have given the value as B. And then again, I am dragging another if condition. The same thing. Current row of convert the 2 int 32. Current row of 1, right, is what do you say? Greater than 80. See if the person is greater than 80, right? So then we have to write the cell what? it is grade say A, right? So here the same thing, C I have to put, remove this one, add a concatenation part, right? Add a concatenation part, IDX dot string, right? Okay, so there is a error here, but no problem. Let us run it. How it is working, let us see, right? So what I have did, I have given a condition. For this condition, I've given the grade B, and for this condition, I've given grade A, right? And when I'm executing it, I have to what is that? Fill all those things with grades, right? So let me execute this. Okay, C0 does not exist. So there is no C0 here, right? That is why I told it is an error, right? So now what to do? What I have to do for that? So we have to increment it, right? So let me increment or increase the IDX value, because IDX value is automatically initialized as 0. So make it as 1, right? Fine. Let me show you this. IDX plus 1. Right? Fine. Now I am going to execute this. See, again there is a problem, because if I'm giving 1, starting of index is here. Is it right? See, it is I mean the column name is actually disappeared. Is it right? So let me do one thing. I'll again upgrade it. Right? So go to here and make this as 2. Your starting index should be in 2, right? Excellent. So now I'm going to execute once again. That's it. Now it is working fine. See, all the values are greatly filled. So if you want to see, the same thing can be done directly with the help of formula, which if you know Excel automation, right? So just an example, I'm giving this. So if you have thousands of data, right, immediately you've been able to identify all the grades easily, right? Fine. So here a problem is there. Can you please tell me what is the issue here? So, for example, I'll give you another name. So, for example, say some Khan, something like that, right? And then give a value as 80. Okay. The value as 80. Let me remove this. Let me execute this. See, this is not filled because we haven't checked the condition for equal to, right? So equal to also we have to check here, right? So if I'm putting equal to, then this will work. Fine. So this worked perfectly. Okay. So okay. This is what a simple exercise to include grade for a student marks. Okay. Fine. Now the next session will be discussing about data scrapping, PDF data extraction, and Gmail automation. So you may be wondering, what about workbook? How to use workbook, right? So in the next session, right, we'll be discussing about data scraping, and in that data scraping, we'll be using the workbook activities, right? So I'll be discussing in detail about workbook activities in the next session. Okay. So I think we can go for a break, I think. Arnavadini madam?
Yes, sir, we can go for a break. We can be back at 12 o'clock.
Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Today I am facing some problem due to internet connectivity.
Okay.
So kindly adjust. Just net is not working proper.
Oh, okay, sir.
Fine, I will send the PPT to you now. No issues. I'll send it. Okay, Ashish sir has done with macros. Okay, okay.
So one more request I would like to make. Like yesterday, if you upload the today's video on the YouTube, that will be even great help.
Sure, sir. I will.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.